Today we will start with project execution. The material issued to the project. So first of all we have create a material master record, okay, which is created in the module, that is material management module. Then create purchase order with respect to WBS or with respect to network activity. Then good receipt. Once purchase order allocate to the vendor, he will supply the goods and the good receipt will be done across the purchase order or against the purchase order. Moment the good receipt comes under the store, the production department or the respective department goods issue on the project or a WBS or a network with respect to the reservation number. Okay, so this is the typical material issue to the project cycle. So you first of all you have to material master, material assigned to the project, create purchase requisition, create purchase order, good receipt, goods issue, and finally the stock will get consumed. During the goods issue, stock will get consumed on the project. This is a direct procurement cycle against the activity. Okay, you have to assign a material for the external activity or a cost activity, okay, general cost activity, where you need to procure that particular material. So material procured directly for the network to create a purchase requisition. Against that purchase requisition in module there is an inquiry, then the quotation, then entry of the quotation. Once the quotation gets finalized, there is a vendor selection process which is carried out in module. Once the vendor selection gets finalized, there is a ordering process where we need to provide a purchase order to the particular vendor. Once the purchase order provided to particular vendor will supply the material. The goods will received under the store by store department. Okay, and finally the invoice verification, where we need to payment the particular payment for the vendor. This is a typical procurement cycle with respect to the project or with respect to a WBS or a network. So this is the project stock requirement. So once you allocate the material to WBS and once you procure that material, the stock will be comes to the project stock or with respect to WBS. That is the you need to consume that stock against that particular WBS only. Okay, system will not allow you to transfer that stock to any other WBS or to consume the stock to any other WBS. So this is called as the project stock. So this is how the stock transfer from the one WBS to another WBS. If I have a project A stock, okay, and I have project B store, and I want to stock transfer from one WBS to another WBS, it will be happen through the movement type. So there are several standard movement type provided by the SAP where you can stock transfer from one WBS to another WBS. There is a 301 movement type to transfer the stock from one WBS to other WBS. Okay, so this is the how the process will be happen during the stock transfer. So this is project oriented procurement or a project oriented production procurement or a seamless integration workflow or powerful progress tracking. These are the key figures in a procurement. So in project oriented procurement, assignment of the component or a bill of material, where you can assign this to the internal, external or a general cost activity, and then finally you have a stock or a project stock where you can be able to good receipt and goods issued as stock against that particular WBS. Project oriented procurement, production procurement, where you have a bill of material or assembly having a sub assemblies or a components, and within that production order you have to assign that particular bill of material. So the account assignment is your WBS and the stock will be against that particular production order. And there is a seamless integration workflow where you can be tracking your particular component or a particular material through the workflow requirement. This can be done through the workflow consultant. Procurement of material in a project. This is integration with MM and PP, that is material management and the production planning, where your stock is either a stock item or a non-stock item. For the stock item there is a reservation gets created, and for the non-stock item directly purchase requisition gets created against that particular material component. So during project execution, the below key points, that is the period end closing. The period end closing is nothing but your progress analysis, your result analysis and the settlement, your interest calculation, year end closing and periodic transfer. The settlement is nothing but the transfer of the cost from one object to another object. As your WBS is a temporary cost collector, so you can be transfer that stock from the WBS to respective cost center, GL account or a fixed asset, and that is depend upon the different kinds of projects. The result analysis is nothing but your calculation of the WIP, that is the work in progress. So how much work in progress I need to be calculated through the result analysis, and there are various methods in SAP to calculate the result analysis. The earn value calculation, where you can be calculate your progress analysis, or whether my project is a underrun or a overrun cost, that can be get calculated to the earn value calculation. The year end closing is nothing but your calculation of the settlement and your project closure. You need to close the project technically and financially. So these are the two ways where you can be year end closing and year end closing of the project. And the periodic transfer, where you transfer the cost from the one object to the another object. The cost revenue is nothing but your transfer of the cost and the revenue, transfer of the payment and the fund reservation. And the resources, where you can assign the workforce planning, capacity planning, stock requirement and the report for the particular production order. This is a confirmation of work, so which is included your confirmation of the timesheet, that is CATS, which is again the HR and PS integration. So you can able to manage your resources timesheet through the CAT, through the project or through the WBS. Then the confirmation of your rework, the collective confirmation can be possible or an individual confirmation of the activity. These are the methods performing on the confirmation, that is individual confirmation, collective confirmation, which able to gives you the lots of activity confirm simultaneously in a collective confirmation. Then you can be find out the summary of the confirmation, that is nothing but the reports, where you can be find out what are my progress of that particular activity, how much percentage of confirmation of that particular activity, that can be find out through the summary confirmation. Pool confirmation, handling goods issues with error. So during confirmation, if there is any goods issues is balancing, that activities gives the error that it should have some goods issues need to be done on that particular activity. And settling parameters, that is nothing but the settlement of that particular network activity. Network internal activity confirmation gives you the actual start date, actual end date for that particular activity, how much degree of processing, that is a POC, percentage of completion or a degree of processing of that particular activity, how much actual work has been done on that particular activity against the plan work, and how much remaining work on that particular activity you can be find out through the standard SAP reports. These are the parameters of the network confirmation. For the open activities section and the activities required for the confirmation, the material movement, that is nothing but a goods issue, default value, that is final confirmation or open reservation. There is a check whether the date you have provided as the actual date is not in the future, it is a today's date or a current date. Work deviation, how much work deviation against the plan versus actual. The log for the actual cost, that you can get the actual cost on that particular activity, how much actual cost will get done on the particular activity, that can be find out. Network confirmation in the report CN28. So network confirmation gives you the confirmation screen. This is typical confirmation screen where you can able to confirm that particular activity. So you have to provide a percentage of completion of that particular activity, then the start date, actual start date and the finish date, and system will calculate the number of durations. That is, this is my planned duration versus this is my actual duration. So this is the activity confirmation in the network. For the multiple activities you can confirm through the collective confirmation. So this is the way you can do the confirmation of the collective confirmation of the activity inside that particular network.